Hi, my name's David Odell with Odell Complete Concrete. Today I'm going to be showing you a little small patio edition, and it's going to be colored stamped concrete with sealer on it. Also on this particular job, I'm going to show you how to freshen up your planter beds and add drip irrigation. Drip irrigation is the only way to go when you're in tight spots or near a house or anything where you may get overspray. Water is a big cause of a lot of damage to paint, concrete, anything around it. Here we are adapting a drain to the existing drain that was in the yard. This was a lawn area or just kind of a collection of whatever in this area, some stepping stones and stuff we kind of took out. We found the existing drain. Now we just have to get it at the right level, because this new area we're going to slope everything to this drain. So we just kind of check around from the existing elevations that we have already here, and we just give it slope. We just put the drain lower than everything around it. We have a patio existing on this other side that you can't see yet, but we're going off of that elevation, and we're sloping at about 1.5% slope per foot. So you're looking at about 3/16 an inch per foot of slope. And I go about my normal routine. I put the rebar in here every 2 foot centers, 3/8 rebar. We have, they had an old gas line in here. I don't think I showed that, but it was steel pipe just buried directly in the dirt, and I had to remove it. It was leaking. So I just tossed it, capped the line that was coming out of the house. And now I'm showing you the planter beds. They had the dirt way above the bottom of the weep screen of the house. Fortunately, it didn't do much damage to this point. They also had the drains in this planter bed higher than the floor of the house. Right behind that little pop out you see, which is called the weep screen in those planter beds, that's pretty much the floor level, maybe 1.5 inches above that. So it's important you have the drains below the floor level, otherwise the water will go into the house before it goes into the drain. And that's the kind of situation they had here before I got here. So I removed plenty of dirt out of those planter beds. Here's the coloring of the concrete. I'm just going with your basic 3,000 psi concrete. That's me rotting it. Also, I'm throwing the color and bull floating. So what I used here was we just kind of went with a beige color hardener, which is about a 5,000 psi color hardener. So the surface of this concrete is going to be about 5,000 psi, no doubt about it, which is very good because it resists staining, fading, all those things associated with concrete. When you put the color hardener on, you're basically putting a super hard surface on it that doesn't discolor or fade or anything. So I throw it on out there like this. I've already thrown it out in the first half. We started pouring and letting it absorb into the concrete, let the water bleed up through it, and then I just run the bull float over it, and that works the color right into it. It's real simple. Now I'm standing up on top of the wall here, and I'm funny floating it because it's the only place I can really reach the concrete from without having to walk out in the wet concrete, which is always makes it a little bit more work if you have to do that. So I'm up on top of the wall, and this was a nice wall. It was a 6-inch wall. It had some big old 8-inch wide caps on there, made it nice to walk on. You get on those 4-inch walls and it gets kind of scary when they start blowing in the wind and you're on top of them. But this one was pretty comfortable walking up there. Now I got one control joint here, and I just centered it on the drain because anything coming up through the concrete creates a weak point. So we're just going to join it there. And later on what I'll do is I'll cut through the plastic so the water won't set in that joint. It'll just go right on through into the drain. So I'll cut the plastic below the drain cap. Now here we are. I'm throwing your second color on, and it's an antiquing release. I believe I'm using a Schofield here, and it's called Slate Gray, which has a kind of a green tint to it. It's grayish green, because they had some green tiles here, and I'm kind of matching that texture and color. This is some Belgium slate seamless texture stamps I'm using on this one. And I just move them, overlap them, and pound every square inch of them so we get a real uniform pattern, and it embosses the color also really evenly. So I worked from the sun to the shade because obviously it's going to be a lot wetter in the shade longer. So this is just one thing you have to think about when you're doing stamped concrete, amongst many other details. But you need to stamp where the concrete's going to get hardest first. And now this is the next day, and I'm out here. I'm doing some pressure washing. This is how I always clean the secondary color off. I don't use anything but just a pressure washer. It's 3200 psi. I use a 45-degree angle tip on this. No, it's a 40-degree tip on this pressure washer, and you use anything less than that, when the concrete's this fresh, you're going to do some damage. So anyway, that's how I rinse them. Now, looking at these planters, I've converted all their spray heads, which were overspraying everywhere and pounding the sides of the house and causing stucco damage, all kinds of other problems. But so I'm going to put a drip hose in here, and it's got these built-in emitters about every 8 inches or 1 foot, and the water will just come out of there slowly, but it'll get all the roots wet. You won't lose any water for overspray and what have you. So I lowered all these drains because they were all too high before. Took a bunch of dirt out of these planters because they were too high. And now here's what we got. I put some plants in here. I put some bark, and you can see now it's below the weep screed of both houses, because these are the neighbor's house and the owner's house that we're working on. These particular plants, gardenas, get approximately 2 foot. They get about 2 foot by 2 foot. So this will fill up. This whole planter will be pretty much filled up nicely in about a year or 6 months. And here we have the final rinse of the concrete. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to call me if you have any questions. 714-454-7637. Thank you again. I used a penetrating water base on this.